Welcome to my chow line. I'm Tracy Lingle. Today we're getting into creamy bacon ranch mac and cheese. It's going to be an awesome, real fast and easy. Just a little bit of bacon, ranch seasoning from Grill Your Ass Off, and mac and cheese, man. It's all good. So let's get into it. All right, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to soften up this cream cheese. We're going to set it in the smoker and let it get smoked. I always like smoked cream cheese. It's really good with smoked salmon and stuff like that too if you're doing like a little appetizer. But I'm going to throw this in the smoker. I've got it pretty low. I'm not putting a lot of heat to it. I'm trying to just get the smoker warm before we put everything else in. You're doing all the cooking outside of this dish. Like the bacon, you're dicing it up and you're browning it off, and you know, just bacon bits. You're going to make bacon bits, and then you're going to add this to it. Your noodles, you're going to take them al dente or less, where they're still kind of firm. That way they'll be firm up for the cook process. So all right, so we're going to let that smoke for a little bit, let it get warm, get soft. We'll finish up and bring out everything else. We'll combine it and show you what it looks like. All right, so we've had our cream cheese on for a little bit. I'm gonna throw some butter in there with it. 2 blocks of cream cheese in here softening up. We're just trying to get it so that way when we go to mix this stuff together, it's nice. We've got our bacon. We've got 1.5 pounds of bacon here. We've got 3 pounds of macaroni noodles that are done to, they're soft, but they're still firm, very firm. So that way when we go to stir, we're not gonna be crushing them. They're not so soft that it comes apart. It's gonna cook some more. So even if it has some little hard spots on it, it'll be fine. We're going to be adding a lot of dairy to this, and it'll soak up some of that as well. So we'll let this soften up a little bit, and then we'll add all this stuff together. So while we're waiting on that to soften up, let's go over some of the ingredients. So of course, you know, we're going to have macaroni noodles. We're going to have extra sharp cheddar cheese. We're going to have some Gouda. We're going to have bacon. Of course, our seasonings. And the way this ranch powder works is you mix it with either goat cheese, or the way this ranch stuff works is you mix it with sour cream or Greek yogurt to get that. We're using only 1 canister of the sour cream to go with these 2 packs. It's usually 1 16-ounce per pack, but because we're adding all this other dairy, I didn't want to add more cream in it. We're going to add some half and half. Heavy whipping cream is also good. We're going to mix this half and half, and then we're also going to, since this isn't quite full anymore, I would have used a whole one. This isn't quite full. I've got some milk to add to it as well. And we got cream cheese that's on the smoker, and we got butter. And then of course our seasonings. So, and then our final thing, we'll put a layer of nice Ritz cracker crumbles on top of the mac and cheese as it bakes to brown up, and it'll give it a nice texture on the top. So it's simple ingredients. It doesn't take very long to cook. Biggest thing is getting the noodles done and getting the bacon done, and everything else is just mix, heat, and melt all the cheese. So we've softened up. I'm going to add salt, pepper, garlic, which is the platoon sergeant from Grill Your Ass Off. A good decent amount on the bottom. That'll be our base flavor for everything. Just a good all-around seasoning. We'll add a little bit of this half and half in here now. And this thing was about half full, so this is a 32 ounce, so probably about 16 ounces. Some of our noodles. These are already starting to solidify a little bit on us. I rinsed them, but apparently not enough. You want to take these almost right out of the pot, put them fresh in here. Now this is about 3 pounds. You may not need all of this. For this, I'm going to probably start with that right there. We'll go ahead and break this up a little bit. You see that? I'll go ahead and start mixing this up, break it up. This is for a group. I cook most of my stuff for a group, or for like we meal prep for the whole week. So, and I'm going out of town with the wife, and so the kids will be home and they'll eat this up. And this is also a good thing. If you wanted to, you could add like grilled chicken to it. You could add more bacon if you wanted to. You could add sausage to it instead of bacon, like a beef sausage if you didn't want pork. But this is a great meal, but it's very heavy and very rich. So, you know, go easy on how much you consume of this in one sitting. You'll be not liking yourself later. Add some more liquid. So now we're going to take our seasoning packs of the Grill Your Ass Off Spicy Ranch. Oh yeah. We're doing 2 packs of this. A little bit of milk. And then we're going to add our cheese here in just a second. I want to let this kind of break down a little bit and mix together on coat everything. Go ahead and add our bacon. This is about 1.5 pounds. So now we're going to add some Velveeta. I like using these sauce packs. I like the Velveeta just for the extra creaminess of it. You don't have to use this stuff. It's processed cheese. Not everybody is a fan of it. I like adding a little bit of it. I like the other cheeses too, but sometimes they're super greasy, and this processed cheese still gives you that creamy texture. I'm putting 3 of these packs in. You want to make sure you mix this up really, really good though. Otherwise you'll end up with a spot of cheese in one spot and hardly any in another. And the Gouda will go on toward the end as kind of a topper. Add a little bit of Claymore seasoning from Grill Your Ass Off, which is your Cajun seasoning. I'm gonna add just a little bit to this as I mix it up, just to give it a little bit extra of a little something something. All right, set this on the smoker again, let it warm up and let some of that stuff meld together, and then we'll stir it up again. This has been in there about 15-20 minutes now. Plenty of time for it to get nice and gooey and cheese to start melting down some. Not completely melted, but you're mainly stirring just to make sure that everything's got good coverage on it. You don't have any cheese chunks. After it's had time to soften up some, make it easier to move it around. And this Gouda is a extra smoked dried Gouda, so it's going to have a lot more of a salty texture. So we don't need to worry about too much extra salt and pepper and all that kind of stuff in this, because between the heat from the seasonings and this cheese, it's going to be very salty. So we're just going to get a good coverage on it. Anytime you're using like a harder cheese, typically they got a pretty good salty texture to them, so you don't have to go so crazy with your seasonings. That's probably good. We might add a little more later on, but we're going to stick this back on the smoker, let this melt down, let this get good and warm all the way through, and then we'll add our Ritz cracker crumbles to the top, let it brown up some more, and then it'll be ready. All we're really doing is melting cheese. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add my Ritz cracker crumble to the top. Basically just take a sleeve of Ritz crackers, crumble them up in your hand. If you have to, put them in a Ziploc bag to make it easier. If you can do it gently, sometimes you can do it without the bag ripping, and you can just do it in this. All right, one sleeve was enough. All right, we're gonna go leave that in there till it browns up on the top, and we'll be ready to serve. Today's video is sponsored by Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings. Go to grillyourassoff.com/mychowline or use mychowline at checkout to save 10% off all these amazing spices, sauces, and grilling utensils that are available to you on grillyourassoff.com/mychowline. Today's video is also sponsored by Armed Forces Press. Go to armedforces.press to check out the truth about what's going on in the military all over the world. They have lots of cool articles given in by journalists from all over, with all of them having military backgrounds. Welcome to my Chow line. I'm with Dan Austin. Dan, tell us a little bit about your time in service, where you served, and kind of that, and just kind of give me a little bit of that.
All right. Well, I commissioned in the infantry in '89. And my first assignment was 82nd Airborne. So I went through the regular infantry training and uh, made it through Ranger School without recycling. And so they gave me Pathfinder. So I'm this second lieutenant, butter bar, never been anywhere, never done anything. And I've got a Pathfinder and a Ranger tab over here. Um, and I show up and I get assigned to this platoon, and we're on what's called DRF 9. The 82nd goes through these cycles. The number 9 is the bottom of the barrel. You're the last one to go to war because you're pushing everyone else out. All the details, all the roadblocks, and all the work that has to be done to load out a division. You're the guys that are doing it, right? So we're on DRF 9, and all my guys are out doing stuff, guarding ammo, and I'm a platoon leader and I'm looking at like 3 people when I show up for PT because everybody else is tasked out. Anyway, so about a week later, uh, we get notified we're going to Panama. And it's like, uh, it started out with, oh, we're just going to do an exercise. This is just an EDRI or a emergency deployment readiness drill, right? And you're going to do a jump out at Sicily drop zone. It's this biggest, softest drop zone out there. And then you're going to come back home. This is right before Christmas. So we're like, oh, yeah, okay, 3-day exercise, come home. That'll be good, right? So we get in this truck and they're driving us out here to this holding area. And the guy sitting next to me, Lieutenant, I think his name was McMillan, his face just loses all blood and color. And he says, oh my gosh, this is real. And I'm like, what? He says, I've never seen them have live ammo out here during an EDRI. And I'm like, this ain't real because they had just, the Panamanian Defense Forces, some guards somewhere had killed a Marine and roughed up his pregnant wife when he was going to some Christmas ball. But I was thinking, well, we're not going to go to war over that. We're not. Anyway, sure enough, I go and I get my stuff. And of course, we had just come off DRF 9. Now we're on DRF 1. And all of us are there and getting ready to go. And I meet my entire platoon for the first time in that holding area. And I'm giving them the warning order for Panama.
Oh, wow.
And I have had a charmed military career. I'll just say that. So we go and get on the airplane. And of course, there's de-icing problems. And before the airplane took off, I was already out of water. It was freezing cold, but I'm dragging I've got a PRC 77 with 2 spare batteries. I've got a KY 57 Vinson with 2 spare batteries. I've got parachute flares, smoke grenades, live ammo. I've got a 9mm because I'm in a tow platoon. I've got my M16. And man, that was heavy.
Light infantry.
Yeah, I think we jumped. I can't remember how many MREs we had, but maybe 3 because we thought, we're going to land. And usually you might jump with 9 MREs for 3 days. Those MREs weigh a lot. And we had 4 quarts of water. And I had drunk both of them by the time we got on that airplane, probably around 11 o'clock, midnight. And we go do our thing. And a lot of shenanigans on the airplane. I won't tell you because I want to get to the food. Right? We're here to talk about food. One thing I learned in Ranger School was you think a lot about food because you're always hungry, right? Anyway, so we do our jump and there's some things going on. We lost a couple of guys on assaulting the hill in our battalion and a lot of heat casualties. I think we evacuated like 48 people that day.
Was that because y'all came from a cold environment, went to a hot environment, and dehydration?
Yeah, absolutely. December in Panama was hot and muggy, and we're there in the cold. We're having to de-ice the aircraft in North Carolina, right? Well, we get dropped off. My platoon and our company commander is about. I think there was 17 of us. They put us all in one Black Hawk. 17 people with gear. You still got the
The crew.
the door gunner and the flight crew, and all they got holding us in is this cable. There are no seats. They took the seats out for Panama. Doors are off, so it's actually really freaking awesome. But yeah, we were packed in tight, sitting on top of our stuff, sitting on top of each other. Anyway, we get this notification. The pilot tells us hot LZ, and we're like, oh dang! And we circle this Club Med manicured St. Augustine grass lawn. That's our LZ. And it's hot. So the helicopter flares. We have a Cobra escorting us, right? The helicopter flares, and we must have been 15 feet off the ground. We just poured out of that helicopter like water.
15
Left a
feet.
trail of,
PLF and all the way, throwing
oh my
gear out,
gosh, left a trail of law rockets and
ammo
gas masks.
cans.
We had pro masks. I mean, all this crazy stuff we were carrying, just trying to run out of the open. It wasn't a hot LZ. There was nobody there. But
Wow.
yeah, feel your teeth get sharp real quick. The blood get up. One of my soldiers broke his foot jumping out of that helicopter, right? And so he gets evacuated later on the Humvee on the way back. His convoy gets ambushed. He gets shot. But when he was leaving, I was like,
just landed, if he just
Augie
landed
Schomburg.
just right,
Augie Schomburg. Yeah.
if
I'm like,
the
dude, you know you don't get a Purple Heart for a broken ankle, right? And he's like, what? But I'm like, no, I'm sorry, no. He got
he
it for
got
getting
one,
shot on
he
the way.
got one for getting shot.
And he
Yeah,
got
but
his orders later. They were posthumous. And so he framed it and he's got it up in his room now. Posthumous Purple
Posthumous.
Heart. Yeah,
I'm still
crazy
alive
stuff.
posthumously.
Yeah. So there's so many. We had a bad shooting with a civilian who was in the wrong place, and our guys thought they were getting shot at. That's a whole nother story. He lived, this civilian. He
Well,
was
that's good.
drunk. He was just in a bad spot. And people that had been shot at all day got scared when they saw something. But he had one through and through on his thigh, one through and through on his wrist, and one through and through right below his liver and above his kidney.
Wow.
Yeah.
God was watching out
And
for him.
I told you, by the grace of God, this happened several times. I just thank you, Jesus. That's all I can say. Wouldn't want to have that on my conscience, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're there at this place, and our battalion commander, Colonel Marable, he doesn't know the situation where we are. We got no water. Well, this place has a well, but we're under orders: no drinking the local water. And so we call up and request permission to drink the water. No drinking the local water. Okay, we're up here by ourselves. We got permission to set out the claymores. No setting out the claymores. I mean, on and on and on. It's like,
What are we allowed to do?
yeah, we can't
Besides
dig
be
in.
here.
You're at a religious site. Oh, golly. Anyway.
Yeah. That's the army hasn't changed at all.
No, no. And so I'm there with Sergeant Summerlin and Captain Howerton. He's our company commander. They got this overlook over the battalion landing zone because they're landing on the battalion zone and climbing the hill to attack the. We have a mortar company up on Tina Hetus. And course, they all beat feet when we did our jump, and they beat feet and started mortaring our guys. One of my ranger buddies, Oris Davis, he got hit by one of them mortar rounds, and we laughed because he got hit right in his backside, so he got evacuated on his belly. You know,
Got shot in the buttocks.
he got shot in the buttocks. Yes, he did. Poor guy. Anyway, we laughed about that. And we're up there, and we that first night we can hear our guys digging in across the way, and we're a little upset they can dig in and we can't. You hear this plink, plink, plink. All of a sudden, you hear this boom, 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 boom. 120 millimeter mortar rounds. And when the dust cleared, you hear this plink, 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 plink. They got real serious about digging in after that, right?
Yeah.
But so we're out of water, and finally I just tell my guys, okay, it's on me. I'm ordering you to go drink that water. And so we did. And it was clean. It was well water that people living there at the Baja compound taking care of it. That's the water they drank, you know.
Yeah.
So we drank that water, but we were still out of food, you know. And
How long had y'all been there so far?
I don't remember. It was a beautiful day, maybe about 3 in the afternoon. And maybe we'd been there 3 to 5 days. And me and Sergeant Tomzak, we see this buzzard come, and it lands on a flagpole, or I think it was a flagpole, not a tree. And I'm like, hey, let's get this bird. Maybe we can eat it, right? Now, Sergeant Miller, Vern Miller, this guy, he was a dream platoon sergeant. I'll tell you about him in a second. So I'm like, okay, on 3, we're sitting there, we're both up here, locked and loaded. We're going to shoot this buzzard and eat it, right? 3, 2, 1, pow, pow. Of course, we didn't tell anybody because we didn't want the bird to fly away. All of our buddies are all 19, 17 of us come alive. What's going on there? People come running, hut, 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 and the bird flies away. We missed it. 2 Rangers missed it. 2 starving, hungry Rangers missed their
It's
meal.
probably
right?
a good thing they carry botulism.
Yeah, so Vern Miller, Sergeant Miller, that's what he's like. Sir, you can't eat that bird. What? Just typical second lieutenant stupid. I mean, dang. You can't eat that bird. They carry all kind of, they eat dead stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, okay, well.
I didn't think that
I guess
through.
it's a good thing we missed. Okay, maybe we can find some roadkill. I don't know, something, right? Please.
Is there a cat around? Is there a dog?
Yeah, and we'd already tried to shoot the coconuts out of the trees. We couldn't climb the trees. I've been in the Pacific, and some of the local people in the Pacific, they have just this knack of locking their feet, bare feet, which them trees are rough. I tried. I couldn't even do it. It hurt too much. I'm too much of a wimp. These guys will scale the tree and knock down the coconuts. Well, none of us could do that, right? So same thing. We're trying to shoot down coconuts, and all we do is explode them, and all the water comes out, and nothing falls down, nothing comes down. It's
just,
like, oh my
they
God.
pop open and they're still hanging there. They just dumped
The
all the
food's
water
up there, and we can't get it, right?
better offsetting a claymore on the tree.
Yeah. So we became kind of a gathering place for informants and people who were angry that the PDF was so abusive to their elected leaders. And but I remember this one point, we had this ship captain who he piloted the ships. So when you go through the Panama Canal, your regular ship captain doesn't pilot the ship because they don't know it's got to be. Yeah. So this guy was one of the pilot ship captains, and he brought this hefty trash bag full of dang, what are those called? Those detonators that you screw into grenades and screw into claymores?
Right. Yeah, the detonator.
Yeah. So he brought this trash bag of detonators in the back of his truck, just bouncing around. These things, static electricity can set them off, right?
He put them in a trash bag.
And there were so many. Ah, my goodness, right?
Well, it's
That
basically
was
it's basically electronic
blasting
blasting
cap.
cap.
Yeah, that's what it's
Yeah.
called. They're blasting caps, right? Uh, so, and people brought us some other weapons and other things. Um, but we the colonel turned us loose, told us to go uh, clear grid squares. Right? I need you to clear this grid square. This what does clearing mean? Clear, by the way, maybe it's a term now, but clear was not a doctrinal term. You could assault, you could secure, you could attack. I don't know the difference between attack and assault, but you could call it either one, right? There was no clear. But here I am, clear this grid square. Okay. And so we just go walking around. And I see this yard that has chickens. So these are skinny chickens, but they're chickens, right? And I go up and there's this lady there. Man, she was shrewd. All I have is I literally have a $5 bill in my wallet. I mean, I thought this was an exercise. I wasn't planning on anything, right? Never go to war without American cash. Just trust me. Anyway, I got $5 to my name and I'm trying to buy a chicken offer. I'm thinking she's going to charge me $2. Well, she wants to charge me like 10. And I said, all I have is 5. Well, and this is the thing. I didn't think about it till later, but you got 10 hungry guys with guns sitting in your front yard trying to buy a chicken. Are you going to tell them no? I didn't think later about until later about how that looked, and it was kind of like, and I probably should have just gone hungry rather than, I mean, because I thought I was being honest and forthright, and I was. But how would she know, right?
Yeah.
What type of
All
military
she
is
knows
she?
is her culture, and the Panamanian Defense Forces probably would just come take her chickens, not even ask to
Yeah,
pay for them.
maybe. So anyway, uh, so that was, but the Baha'i people uh, thanked us for not ruining their manicured lawns and bushes, and they had a like a going away party. So we got some rice and some chicken and some other things that people brought up. And I don't want to paint logistics in a bad light. I mean, so you got some hungry soldiers. They'll be all right. In fact, it'll help them stay up at night. They'll be a little edgier, but that's not a bad thing.
They'll be hangry
Yeah,
and be better to fight the enemy.
yes. We did get resupplied probably about, I don't know, maybe 5 days later, we started getting regular resupply, but we were away from the battalion. It was only a couple of miles, but
Far enough
yeah,
that it mattered.
it was enough. Yeah, yeah. It was far enough that they had to, and because every time they went on the road, somebody would throw a grenade or shoot at them. And I think it was just harassment. I don't think the PDF or the people that were doing that really, we ran into a couple of them later and said, dude, why did you guys fight us? And he said, oh, we didn't like Noriega, but you're coming to our country. We didn't want you to think we're pushovers. I was like, okay, well, we don't think you're pushovers.
All right, our mac and cheese is done. So it's creamy bacon ranch mac and cheese. Smells amazing. Nice and creamy. Just, you know. It's getting close to Oktoberfest. It's a great side for tailgating, for parties, all that stuff, holidays. Cheers. Oktoberfest. Ooh, my favorite. All right. Let's get a taste of this. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is so good and creamy. Wow. And it's not spicy at all. It's got like a hint of heat, but not a ton. You could add more if you wanted to. Smokiness. Oh my goodness. You gotta try this. Check out Grill Your Ass Off ranch dressing mix. Really good. Spicy or the regular. Try this creamy bacon ranch mac and cheese at home. Oh my goodness. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for everyone who chips in. Remember, September, this is coming out in September, so September is Suicide Awareness, Suicide Prevention Month. Don't let the hard days win. On your buddies. Bring them some mac and cheese.